Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sábado Histórico. This interview is going to be in English, as you can see, because we have a very special guest here at my right. This weekend is Nexus Festival weekend here in Madrid. So, as you could see previously in our channel, we had the Strikers for another interview. And today we have, as I said, a very special guest. We have Phuture Noize. Hello,
Hey.
Marco.
Hello.
How are you? Nice to have you here in our podcast.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm great. I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, really fun. Nexus Festival always to have
For sure.
so many artists like you and other international hardstyle
Definitely.
artists. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, how are you doing right now, both in a personal and a professional level?
Oh man, I had a very busy 2 months because of the album preparations that I'm doing right now. Like I'm fully in the middle of the process of finishing up all the music, finishing up all the creative aspects for the artworks, the visuals, and that kind of stuff. So professionally, very busy, and privately, well, this week I was in Spain. We actually got here on a Monday, and we. Together with my manager, we just sat at a villa and worked out the album ideas in the Valencia area. So that was great, and yeah, I'm really happy. I mean, we recently we got a dog. We're very busy with trading the dog and stuff, which is a lot of fun. And just got a new house last year, so we're doing renovations and shit. So that's busy stuff.
Okay, that's great. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Spain, not only like playing and performing at festivals and stuff, but also I interviewed you, if you remember, already last year at Apex, and you told me that for the Enlightenment, I don't know if it was for the Enlightenment or previous albums, that you usually come to Spain and, as you said, go to a villa or something to gain inspiration and to write all the themes and stuff for your albums. Why Spain, and what's your relationship in that?
That's the thing. I have actually the reason why I got to Spain in the first place was to play some clubs and shows here. And after a while, especially in COVID, when the flights were a bit like, a bit chaotic and stuff, we just decided to drive here instead. But yeah, driving over to Spain from the Netherlands is a long drive. So we just think like, let's just add a tiny little holiday to that. And I just enjoy that so much because of the food culture here, which I really enjoy, and just the people are just so nice and so open. So just these two things to combine already was like, this is just great, because I mean, I also love swimming, going, to the pool and that kind of stuff. So it's all, it's all there. It's all here. It's all in Spain.
So the weather helps. No,
the weather definitely helps. I mean, that's the thing with the Netherlands. It's like, if you, I like swimming in river and stuff. You just do my exercise in natural water and stuff. So, but that stuff you can do that in the summer in the Netherlands for like 2 or 3 months, and then it's over,
Yeah. Okay. And continuing with your connection with Spain, tonight you're playing at Nexus Festival, a back-to-back with Devin Wild. You've played so many times here in Spain, both at FABRIK and other clubs and festivals. How do you feel the vibe with the Spanish crowd, and how do you feel when playing for us?
I think it's really, especially since after COVID, I really feel like, the vibe's been really great, and they know all the stuff that I'm playing and shit. So that's pretty amazing. And before that was always just a great vibe, but it always felt like a real, like a club scene here compared to more in the Netherlands, like more of a festival scene. Yeah. But that's kind of like changing a little bit nowadays. For me, it feels like it in terms of like how the crowd reacts. They're like super dedicated. They know all this stuff. And maybe it also has to do with my career, like I don't know. But the thing is that changed in a way, and I feel like it's been in a really good spot.
Okay, good to hear. And as I said, you're playing with Devin Wild, with whom you released a collaborative EP earlier this year. I already interviewed you as well via email about this EP, but you're also playing a lot of back-to-backs this year with him at many festivals and clubs. How do you feel when playing with him back to back? Like,
it was really fun, because the first time we played back to back was just after we made Waves, and we still needed to that was like the first time, so there was kind of like we need to find the vibe on stage of each other, because I was so used to playing back to back with like Bob, for example, at B Front, And he's super open on stage. He's like, he just, he's having a good time. And Dion is more like into like playing the actual set and more like just like vibing with the music. While Bob's there, like super friendly, want to do it together. So it was kind of interesting to find that connection together. But after the first, after the first track, we already had a really good connection in the studio. So we played some more shows together, and that just went better and better. And we felt like, oh, it's really cool to just, make a release together. And then now we were on the point where we could also do these back-to-back sets more often.
I have to say that I really like both your styles, both Devin's and yours. And I really thought that if you ever mixed them, it will sound really nice. And I was quite happy that you decided to do a project like this one, like Never Not Done. How do you feel the reaction of people with that EP now that there have been some months since its release?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I feel like it's very... Well, it's not very, but it's different to my normal Phuture Noize stuff, and it's different to Devin Wild's solo stuff as well.
Yeah.
So I feel like we really created something that was quite unique, for the both of us. And when we both finished all these tracks, we really was like talking to each other, being like, I feel like this is like a new step for us, like something that we can have, like something unique to share with the people. And that's why we also decided to do these back-to-backs in the first place. And also that it really shows that we have found a nice workflow in the studio together to create something that's actually sitting there on its own. And I feel like some people, maybe more on my side of fans than on Devin Wild's side of fans, needed to get used to a little bit more of an experimental sound, a little bit more of a, a little bit more deeper, more sound designy, more technical side of Phuture Noize, which I always loved back in the days. And then after a while, I shifted a little bit too much towards songwriting and shit. With the Black Mirror Society album, I started that kind of vibe. Yeah. And but it was really fun for me to take a step back and get more into that technical, sound designy kind of Phuture Noize sound again. And I feel like these tracks took a little while for the fans to understand, but now when we play them, they sing along all the songs and stuff. So that's really, really cool to see. Really dope.
They definitely work really well on the dance floor. And you are a producer that have a really unique sound design. Like you can recognize a Phuture Noize song when you when you hear it. So when you do collaborations, what's the workflow like? Do you always take part on more in like the songwriting and the other artists in the production, and how it depends on the artist? Yeah,
it depends on the artist, but I feel like the best collaborations is when you respect each other and respect each other's strengths and weaknesses. So technically, I think Dion is at Devin Wild, that is. Dion is at a really high level, and he is like really at his peak in terms of like technical understanding of hardstyle, technical, like the sound design stuff. What he's doing is really like up there with, I think, the highest level right now in the scene. So what we just decided for this EP, for example, is that he said like, okay, songwriting, I know you are probably better at me than I am. So what we're gonna do is just start a couple of ideas with songs. I will come over to the studio. We can go through these ideas and I can share my vision on them. That's what Dion said. And then what we did is I then finished up the arrangements of the song, so the composition, so to say. So like the musical aspects in terms of the melodies, the chords, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And then I sent these basic ideas then over to Dion for his studio then to make the stems, and then he finished up all the production bits, all the technical stuff, and all the sound design and all the, you can probably hear that in the tracks that it's a bit different than the Phuture Noize sound design, of course. And that's where we kind of like found our workflow. That was something that he really enjoyed because he could freak out on his in the studio on himself, and then I only had to come over a couple of times just to tweak these bits to make the song make sense for me. And then he was really happy that he had already some awesome ideas to work on.
Okay, interesting. Apart from that release of the EP, maybe the other highlight so far of the year for you was the Rebirth Festival 15 years special.
Yeah.
I was there, and the set was really special, actually. I would say maybe my favorite set so far this year. So I wanted to talk with you about how this set come up? Like Rebirth reached you, or what's your idea?
The thing is, Rebirth, of course, celebrated their own 15 years of Rebirth.
Yes.
So they asked me, like, do you want to do a special 15 years show? And we were like, yeah, that sounds cool, but I mean, I don't have like music that fits the main stage that for 15 years old, because that was kind of like just before when I started actually releasing music.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, what we can do is maybe then just do a journey through all the albums that I did where I have show visuals from, meaning that we could do like a special showcase with it. So we started out with the first album where I made like the visuals for, which is Phuture Thunder.
Yes.
And then after that, we did, you know, the complete journey throughout all the albums. And that was just originally just the idea that we pitched after they asked us to do that set. And they were like, yeah, sounds good to us. I mean, you do you, and you do your own special 15-year set. And they were really happy with it, of course. And I was also really happy because I wasn't expecting that much of that set in general, because I was just thinking like, oh, they would just wanted me to do some kind of classic set, and I will just prepare the best that I could and make like a nice selection of my favorite Phuture Noize tracks, and then hope for the best. And I was thinking like, oh, fuck, I'm gonna announce the album at the end as well. So I was like, I really hope, because I'm playing quite early, I really hope there are some people in the, you know, in the tent, because it was still early, and most of the times, like on the festivals, all these people just come in at like 3, 4. So I was like, oh, I hope that you just don't stand outside in the sun drinking beer, and instead of just ignoring my set. But then when I started the first track, the tent was completely fucking packed, and it was fantastic. So there was such a rush after I was done. Yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask you, because you said that you played music from all your albums that had visuals there. I missed some electronic heartbreak stuff because you didn't play any. Was that because you don't have like the visual package for that album, or is there another reason for that?
There was the main reason, yes, because you know, creating show visuals is another financial thing as well, and we were already at a point where we were investing, you know, extra stuff just to make sure that all the visuals were there, and the VJ was, you know, prepped up, and he got all the equipment and all the stuff that he needed to play our set. So at that point, we were like needing to make a decision whether we wanted to actually make specific electronic heartbreak visuals just to add 2 or 3 songs to the set, or just leave it out. And I was like, well, I have so many songs to play, I can also just leave it out and just play it as is, and I hope people will enjoy it, you know, as much as with the electronic heartbreak songs.
Okay, and as you said, at the end of the set, you played 2 new tracks, and you announced the new album, Open Heart Surgery, which is going to be released later this year. Yeah. What was the reaction of the people? How did you see that? Like how people reacted?
I mean, I didn't for that set as well. The crazy thing about it set was nowadays I play with in-ear monitors in my ear, so the things that you can really focus on the set, because not every venue has the right sound and the right stuff. So I really enjoy playing with these, and you don't really hear the crowd response that much because it blocks the audio completely.
Okay.
And I was just hoping for the best, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for like the manager and tour manager to tell me how it was, and I was like praying that the response was great, and then you could hear the shouts and cheers after, so that was quite magical.
Okay, and talking about this album, how did you come up with the idea of the theme, and how you structure also all the storytelling of an album? Like, do you create all the theme first and then you start producing the tracks and with the names and everything? Or do you go just one track, then another track, first storytelling and then production? Well.
Yeah, what I do most of the times nowadays is what works, I think, best for me is that I sit down, I start like a document where I start thinking of titles, thinking of like how a story can connect to itself in terms of like track hooks, and like I have like notes on my phone that just have like random track ID hooks in there, and then I start just, when I write an album, I grab my notepad and see what I came up with in the last 6 months, for example, and then I grab a couple of things that I really like, and then I start thinking like, okay, what if you are a person listening to this album? What are you supposed to feel? What are you supposed to be, you know, you're wanting to experience while listening to this thing? Okay. And that is kind of different for every album, of course, in the sense that, for example, with the Enlightenment, we had the idea from the start that it had to be from dark to light.
Yeah.
So we started with a bit rougher music. So we needed to think about like titles that fit that kind of atmosphere, that kind of emotion.
Okay.
And then we built it up into a more open atmosphere, which ending up in like in color again. While with Open Heart Surgery, I'm more focused on like the actual personal life experience that I had. That's why it's called like Open Heart Surgery for me, like opening up my heart to the world, essentially. Yeah. And I thought of these experiences and how I could write like a song that's not just for me, but for everyone about it. So I kind of like abstracted out the idea of my personal life experiences. Okay. And then after I had like a couple of ideas on paper for that, I started writing like a storyline, like what the person going through all these emotions should have feel, kind of like a mini book or a mini movie. So we have kind of like some idea on how to make the visuals, how to make the artworks and that kind of stuff. And that's pretty much how I normally write the album. So, I mean, I can probably, on my phone, I've got like a lot of random stuff that I could show you. Like, oh yeah, it's all. Let me check if I can find the thing. So fun to show, maybe. For example, here, just random titles, just random stuff and sentences and everything, and then I just from there I pick the stuff that I enjoy. So
okay. What do you think? Because lately, like because of the short attention span of people, TikTok era, you know, albums are getting less common. What do you think of that? And also, what do you think of artists that not like you, who you think of a whole theme and you create all the tracks around that theme? Yeah. Some artists just pick like all his latest releases and just pack everything into an album. What do you think of that?
Well, personally, I feel like then it's really hard to make an album connect to the people. So in terms of like, if you just grab a compilation of tracks, I feel like you show your vision in terms of hardstyle to the people, but you don't have like an experience to give to them. And I feel like all the good albums that I personally enjoy always have some kind of structure to them, some kind of like emotional message in them somehow, like throughout the album. And some albums are more story based than others, of course. Some are a little bit more like different directions. But in hardstyle, I feel like it's super important to make it interesting because we're so stuck on this 150, 160 BPM region, which means that we don't have a lot of dynamics to play with in the first place. And therefore, you really have to think like, oh, this drop should be maybe a little bit less energetic, so I can make the next drop a little bit more energetic, and that makes the listening experience more fun. Well, if you just make a single and then make 12 of them and put them on an album, you don't have that dynamics going on in the entire album, meaning that there's no contrast anymore. And when there's no contrast on your album anymore, it's just going to be on and off all the time on your album, and then people's going to be like, okay, I know your tricks, I know what you're good at, come on, give me something new. And that's where I'm feeling with an album, you can you can really dive a bit deeper in what hardstyle can be and also what it should be, in my opinion, because then that means you can also make your sets more interesting.
Okay, I have to say I agree with you. I always prefer an album which
well,
has
that's good to hear. That's
the
good
whole story. Yeah, that's why I also enjoy your albums maybe the most. So you released recently the first single of this album, which is "Stop the Bleeding," which features the vocals of Dream, which is a Spanish singer. So it's always nice to hear Spanish vocalists in the scene. In which way this track is connected with the whole album, and why did you decide it to be the first release?
Well, the decision for the first release was like, I wanted to have a signature Phuture Noize song as the first single. So I had a couple of demos that I made, and then this one felt like, you know, like a Phuture Noize song again. Since I did like the collab with Bob and the collab with Dion, I was like, well, my first single should be a real Phuture Noize song to me. Like that feels like all the stuff that made me Phuture Noize, you know, like that kind of stuff. But I did try to incorporate new elements, like, for example, post-punk influence, pop-punk influences in terms of, like, the instruments and the kind of vibe in the chorus and shit. But yeah, what decided to make me the first single is, like I said, the demo that I made, and I showed that to people, and they're like, yeah, that's you know, where I know you from, so I think that would be a cool first single. And I was like, okay, cool, well, then I will just simply focus on making that the first track. And in terms of the story of the album, the idea was to put it somewhere halfway, but I'm still like fiddling with the other tracks. I'm not sure where it will sit in the track list, but that's probably where it's gonna be at. And it's like the point where you realize you can't do this on your own. Like you can't live on your own. You can't do everything on your own. You can't conquer the world on your own. You always need good people or some loved ones around you to be the best self.
Okay, interesting. And we also know right now 2 other tracks that are going to be in the album. The collab with Galactics, which is Forever Lost.
Yeah.
And you presented a new track on Intense. I don't know the title yet.
Yeah.
So maybe you can tell us a bit more about it.
It's called Who Is She? And
Okay.
that was fun because I wanted to write the entire album, all the lyrics by myself, but my manager just sent me like a demo for that vocal to me. And she was like, oh, I think this really just fits the narrative you're trying to say with the album. Like at the beginning where you really want to tell like people that are being lost and need to find their direction in life. It's what I had in my personal experience as well.
Okay.
So that vocal just happened to be there. And I was like, okay, that's dope. I want to try to make a song out of that for the album.
Okay.
And I made the first version for Intense, but I felt like the vibe was just a little bit off when I played it live because I wanted to play it like somewhere at a certain point in my set, and it just felt a little bit too, I wouldn't say happy, but not like the intensity that it should have for me, the emotion in terms of what I wanted it. So the version you heard at Intense, I changed up the main part a little bit with different chords, so now it sounds a little bit more intense, I'd say. So, but that's coming out very soon because that's actually going to be the second single.
Okay.
Because Mr. Galactics had other plans with his planning for the releases, which is all good, by the way. But so we put it on a different single.
Okay, maybe the track is going to be out before this podcast, so maybe people already know.
If this podcast is going to be released when you said it's going to be, then it's going to be out. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned also the vocals. How important is for you to have the right vocals in the album and also the right vocalist, because you almost always work with kind of the same vocalist in your albums.
Well, the thing with the vocalist is that I like to make music together with other people in the first place. Like that's just a fun experience.
Okay.
And for the vocals, I just I have an idea in my head what kind of emotion that vocal should be like, and then I just find someone that I know that I enjoy working with, and then we can write a song about it. So that's why I always come back to certain people, because I feel like we have a really good click in the studio, and then they can really tell that story what I have in my mind in a really nice way. And of course, when you write songs with people, you have to kind of like be on the same wavelength. So that's why I kind of come back to the same people, because they understand what I'm thinking,
Okay. And you've released, I would say many albums now. What's your favorite own album?
Oh, that's very hard to say. Like, I don't have necessarily a favorite, but I mean, I think if you look at my career, Black Mirror Society did the most, because I was at that point, like, people were looking at me being like, what can this guy do?
Yeah.
And then I released that album and they were like, okay, it's cool. I want to visit him, visit his sets now and stuff like that. And that's what made me be able to play like the big main stages and stuff. So I'd say personally that did the most for my career. Is it my favorite? I don't know. Like, I really enjoyed working on Silver Bullet as well, because it was such a new experience for me.
Yeah.
When I decided to really focus on songwriting and also live musicians in there. And from start to start, it was a really cool experience for me, because I was just figuring out what to do after Corona hit and what kind of sound I was moving forward to. And eventually the sound that I had on from start to start led it into the Enlightenment. Because when we started with the Enlightenment, I talked to Bob and I said, like, yeah, I've got this idea of this type of like mix with like raw and euphoric sound that sounds new to me. Should we try to do that direction instead? So all these albums kind of like tell my own personal musical story, and I feel like that's fun, you know. I love that idea.
Okay, and how about the Enlightenment? How do you reflect on the release of that album 1 year after releasing it?
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was really hard work with to do this collab album, of course, in the first place, because it was my first collab album.
Yeah.
And so we worked really hard on it, and we were happy that a lot of promoters were excited to book us in the first place, because you never know, like, when you're doing these projects, if they're excited to to spend so much money on your set, you know. That's kind of like the thing where I'm a bit hesitant, be like, oh, you're just doing a live act, and nowadays for some live acts it's just not special at all. So if you say like, oh, we're doing a live act, and be like, oh, but what if you just come up, put your USB and play your pre-recorded set and leave, you know, kind of like situation, which happens sometimes. And with the Enlightenment, we were like, yeah, we are gonna do something special. We're gonna just our music. We just have a complete new album, complete new visual, you know, thing going on and everything. So we were really happy that they were open for the idea. And then after that, the success only grew bigger and bigger throughout the shows, where people started to see like, oh, this is very cool, you know, very unique experience just to be there. Yeah. And I feel like that was great. And that really, you know, showed me that the direction in Hardstyle for me is pretty clear in terms of like giving people some sort of special experience that I think that I should feel as well if I was standing in the crowd instead, you know?
Okay, and yeah, last year you played at many festivals with this live act with Bob, with Bfront. The last set you did as the Enlightenment was at Eternal, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct, yeah.
And you also played back-to-back at Climax. How did you feel within Climax? Like, it was a secret lineup and they told you to play and you played with Bob. So how was it for you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I wanted to be there in the first place. I was really glad that they asked me, because I had also some options to play, you know, like I think in Mexico it was or something like that, like a really nice festival. Yeah. But I was really glad that I was thinking about going there, and it was like, no, yeah, we can also put you on the Climax lineup for the final one. I was like, nice. I can't miss that, you know? Yeah. So that was really fun. And I think like Q-Dance curated the entire night. So we didn't have that much freedom, I'd say, to just do our own set, but of course we could select our own tracks and stuff, but we had to like think about the build-up, and we had like, I don't know where I don't remember correctly, but if I'm correct, it was like 2 or 3 meetings with them talking about like how the show should be like, how would we like structure the sets and that kind of stuff. Okay. So that was something different and something special. And of course, the Eternal show was fun, because it was the first time when they actually did the Eternal show in the first place. Yes. So it was the first really big, I'd say, euphoric focused show in the Netherlands in a long time. Yeah. And the atmosphere was just fantastic. Like, I mean, it was just so great to see so many fans that really knew all the songs and were really excited just to be there for the last show. Okay, and continuing with Q-Dance, apart from Climax, you're playing at Defcon, of course, this year, twice. You're playing at the Red, I think, and you're playing at the Blue as well. At the Red with Devin Wild. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Yeah. I think this podcast is going to be out after Defcon, so if you can tell us what you have in store for Defcon, and how do you feel Defcon in general? I mean, the Defcon's always like the weekend for me in the year where I actually just, you know, I am there for the entire weekend. Like, I want to be there and see all my friends there, all the people that, you know, work in the scene and that kind of stuff, which is really fun. And for the sets, I have Dion, and we're trying really hard to make a new song. We're still in the process, but when we played Defcon, maybe we finished, and maybe we didn't. Okay, but we hope so. We hope so, exactly. And for the Blue set, which I'm playing on Sunday, I really want to do like a Rebirth really inspired me to do some sort of kind of set like that in the Blue, but it can't be like an album showcase. But I think they don't have LED screens there for us to use. So I feel like it's gonna be like me just doing a Phuture Noize right now and some classics and try to make the best set that I can. I'll make sure not to miss it if it's going to be similar to the Rebirth set. Of course, not the same, because I can't do the same thing. Yeah, of course, but like kind of similar. Yeah. At your solo sets lately, all the solo sets you've played that I've been to, you usually play other artists' tracks as well, apart from your own discography. And there have been a pair of debates lately on social media and Reddit and everything, where people gave their opinion about this fact that artists, if they should play other artists' music or not. What's your opinion on this, and why do you decide to play also some music from other people? Well, I feel like, I'm from the generation where if you were a DJ, you really were considered to be needing to play a DJ set, meaning that people would actually be annoyed if you just play 25 solo tracks in an hour if they booked you for a DJ set. That was like reserved for the live act show, you know. That's where you would only play your own shit.
Okay.
And nowadays, the DJ sets are kind of like the live acts that we did back in the day. And I still feel like I want to just put the people in the best mood that I can in a set. And that sometimes requires other people's tracks, of course, because I have a certain vision of hardstyle, but in the crowd from a lot of festivals and a lot of places where you're at, it's not going to be just Phuture Noize fans. So to serve them with an hour of just Phuture Noize music sometimes can be even, you know, a stupid decision, because they also want to hear different kind of music. They also want to hear different kind of artists, and they want to just be in a good mood there. So I always just check what kind of like stuff people like to listen to at that moment. And of course, since I do have Phuture Noize fans in the crowd most of the time, I do also need to play the right Phuture Noize tracks in the set, of course. But I feel like, you know, playing other people's songs is very much part of the DJ culture in general. And if we let that go, I feel like then we can rather just play without DJ sets. We can just sit there, play the keyboard, or bring a laptop or whatever, and then that's fine by me, but that's just a completely different culture, you know?
Okay, and what's your opinion, general opinion, on the current status of the scene? Like, do you see it's a good health? Or?
That's very hard, man. Like, I don't try to focus on that shit, because I'm so very busy with creating my own stuff that I really feel like and realize that if you make the right type of music for yourself and the right type of music for just people to dance to, there will also always be some sort of crowd. So the scene, I feel like, is kind of like disappearing in that sense, because it's always more like, it's more like they, it's all bubbles now, you know what I'm saying? Like, some people are into the very heavy kick roll, let's say strikers kind of sound, and all these people are big fan of that type of sound, so they visit the artists that make that kind of sound. And you have people that really enjoy my sound, but they also enjoy Bob's sound, for example, because we're a bit more related, you know.
Yes.
And they are in that kind of bubble. So I think what we're going to see in the future is more and more artist-based shows, more and more artist-based festivals even. So that's kind of like how I'm also trying to go forward in the future, you know, do more shows about Phuture Noize, do more events that are Phuture Noize based, so to say. Yeah, so that's, I think, the direction the scene is going to be taken. And for me, I don't really mind that. It's only a bit annoying that the DJ culture then is going away a little bit, which I enjoy. And that's kind of like a bit sad, but that can also be a unique selling point for some people. You have like DJs like Ruler that are really into the more DJ type of thing, that they really want to do something else. And I think that's the diversification that you really get nowadays. When everyone's there in their own bubble, they can just think like, oh, I love DJing. I'm going to visit Ruler set, for example. Oh, I love emotional hardstyle stuff. Okay, let's go to Phuture Noize. So, you know, that's kind of like the thing that I feel like what's going to be the state of the scene very soon.
In the end, there's music for everybody, because, music is subjective.
And that's not bad, I think. But the thing is that you have to make the right quality shit to make sure that you have enough fans in the first place. Otherwise, of course, that can't work. Yeah,
okay. You mentioned like events related to an artist. Are you planning to do some kind of event soon?
Yeah. I mean, we're working really hard to do an album show later this year. Well, a special album launch, I'd say, because album shows, of course, are going to happen. But an album launch show in the Netherlands. And we're also looking to maybe do some different kind of club tour kind of situation with the album. So we are also planning really hard on that. So yeah, I hope we can play these album shows as much as the Enlightenment and hopefully more. So that's kind of like the goal.
Okay, fine. And what are your favorite festivals right now, hardstyle festivals?
I mean, Defcon's always been my choice. I mean, every year I go there for the entire weekend for that reason. I mean, it's always been my favorite. I mean, it was always the goal to play there, and since I'm now playing there for, I don't know, 10 editions, I think, 9 maybe. So it's always just great.
Okay. And related to Defcon, this year you participated in the Red Race, the first edition of this kind of contest.
Yeah, brand new shit.
Yeah. How did Q-Dance get to you to participate in the contest, and how did everything go? How did you feel in participating?
Of course, it was a very unique experience, because the first thing that they phoned me about was being like, yeah, we know you are, how the conversation went was like, yeah, we know you run your own label. And I was like, yeah, of course. And I was telling them, like, I struggle pretty hard to find the right talents to release music on my label. I'm like super high focused on getting new talents, but now I feel like in Hardstyle what happens really quickly is that you can just produce your first track and then you send them out to any label and then they think like, oh, this sounds with a little bit potential, we're gonna release it. Yeah. Therefore, a lot of talents that can be good and maybe can even use my help or other people's help, they are already signed to some kind of like big label or whatever, and that was kind of like the thing that I was struggling with. And then Q-Dance also had the same issue in their head in terms of like that a lot of young talents kind of like lack the right mentoring. And then they were like, yeah, how can we make this new? How can we make this fun? And they were then later they were phoning me being like, yeah, we have this concept, which is like the Voice of Holland, but it's kind of different. But we got the producer that actually did the Voice of Holland to run this show. So are you up for maybe participating? And I was like, I mean, in general, yes. I mean, I enjoy, you know, working with other musicians. I enjoy talking music with other people, and I like teaching people as well. So in that sense, it was very natural, you know.
Okay, and how was your relationship with Aerobreak? Do you feel he improved because of your tips and everything?
That was really fun because at the beginning it's a little bit, you know, like hard to judge someone's personality and someone's mindset on a track that he sent us a demo. So I was like, I have no idea what to expect. And so the first session was a little bit like, okay, what can this guy do? What's his like his strong points? What's his weak points? And excuse me, is that when we were in the studio together, I already immediately saw that he was really good in terms of like sound design details and stuff. It's like the stuff that he really enjoys doing in his music. Yeah. So I was like, well, that's great because I really focus on the songwriting and that kind of aspect. So I can really hopefully teach him stuff in that aspect, and then I can just let him do his own thing in the things that he loves the most, you know. And when we were making that final track that just got released, it was like the idea to have a couple of sessions together. I think we did 2 studio sessions for a couple of hours, and he made like an idea for a track, and I was like telling him like maybe you should musically make it like this and this kind of vibe and that kind of idea. And then I spent in 3 or 4 hours with him just like making a couple of edits to his melodies, making a couple of tweaks to his arrangement, making sure that everything made sense in terms of for the listener and that kind of stuff. And the next day he phoned me and was like, oh mate, like this is the first time really everything starts making sense. That's so cool, man. Like, thank you so much. It was really lovely to just, you know, have that immediate response from him being like so happy that he finally started seeing things that he didn't see before, you know, and that was really fun to see.
Yeah, that's great. And apart from him, who do you see as other promising artists right now in the hardstyle scene?
Oh, that's a very difficult one because I feel like right now in terms of talents, there are quite a lot of people that are very capable in terms of technical aspect. But I've really hard time selecting the ones that I really love to just listen to, you know, in general. I feel like there's a couple of new guys that are really good in terms of like just making music. But the melodic hardstyle stuff, there's not a lot of guys out there that do that like really properly, in my opinion. And that's kind of like where my heart lies, you know?
Yeah. Okay. And going back to the album stuff, what do you have in store for us for the upcoming months? What can you tell us about it? Some collabs maybe, or
so what the idea is to have 3 collabs on the album.
Can you say something, or at least some hints?
Okay, so we have of course Galactics, which is, by the way, I don't think he's a talent still, but I was just thinking about like that would be my pick, that I know Ralph is really, you know, taking really good steps into the right direction.
He's already playing at the main stages.
Exactly, so that's why I wouldn't say as a talent, but as a guy that's not like playing that many shows. He's kind of like, in my opinion, the guy in melodic hardstyle that's really doing nice things.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, collab with him, of course, that I already played and you talked about. I've got the collab with Devin Wild is hopefully going to be on the album, but that's just, you know, like we're still working on it. We have ideas, and then hopefully it's going to be on there. And of course the one with Obversion that we just recently started out, and we're still and we're still working on that because I want to change the melodic part a little bit up, like spice it up a little bit, because when we made the first version, it was for his event in February.
Yes.
And he was like super busy, of course, with all this other stuff there. And I was like, okay, cool, you just play the demo, we'll check it out later. And hopefully we can finish it up very soon and put it on the album as well.
Okay, and now I'm done with all the questions, and now it's time for a game, a little game that I invented.
Yeah.
I've prepared a list with 16 of your tracks, like maybe the most known tracks of yourself and the most famous.
Yeah.
And we're going to do like a bracket, a 5 bracket, and you have to choose in pairs of them.
Yeah.
So the idea is to end up with the best Phuture Noize track by Phuture Noize opinion. So,
Okay, cool.
So we are going to start. The first matchup would be Fire against Maniac. With which one do you resonate the most?
I think I still enjoy Fire the most, but it's a really hard one because Maniac for me was a really fun track to make because it's such a dynamic track, like with the intro, melodic drop, then another completely different kind of feel in the second part. So there was also something I really enjoyed by that track. So, but in terms of like playing the song, I would say Fire wins.
Yeah, people always like scream Fire.
Yeah. But it's just like when I made that track, I immediately know like, oh, nice, this is like peak Phuture Noize shit when I made that. So
okay, now the second one, Polestar against Antidote with Devin Wild.
Oh, that would be Polestar, I think. Yeah.
Okay, I will pick. Okay, then Starlight against Masquerade. These are two of the biggest classics by yourself.
Yeah, that's a different. I'd say I would vote Masquerade.
Okay, Masquerade. I thought you were going to say Starlight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But Starlight's a fucking huge song, so I love
obviously.
it. I love it for that reason, but Masquerade for me means a little bit more, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. Then, The Enlightenment, the title track, against Black Mirror Society, the title track as well.
I would say Black Mirror Society, the title track.
Okay. Then, A Fantastic Vibration against Circles and Squares.
Circles and Squares, yeah.
Okay. My Beautiful Fantasy against Waves.
Oh, I would say My Beautiful Fantasy.
I would have said Waves, but it's okay. Now, Edge of Glory against The Solution.
Edge of Glory.
Okay. Stop the Bleeding, your latest release, and From Star to Stardust, the title track.
Oh, I love that one as well. It was a really that was just a fun track. It just came together so quickly. But I would say Stop the Bleeding, just because it has a little bit more meaning for me.
And it's recent.
And it's recent. Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so we have 8 tracks now. I would say all the 8 tracks you picked. You picked Fire, you picked Polestar, Masquerade, Black Mirror Society, Circles and Squares, My Beautiful Fantasy, Edge of Glory, and Stop the Bleeding.
Yeah.
So now let's do another round. Fire against Polestar.
Polestar is of course a lot more unique, but Fire is just the best memories. I just have to go with Fire.
Okay. Masquerade against Black Mirror Society.
Oh, then I would go Masquerade because
Okay.
that's just a track that I love making.
Okay. Circles and Squares and My Beautiful Fantasy.
Circles and Squares.
Okay, you didn't have to think about it for too long.
No.
And Edge of Glory against Stop the Bleeding.
That's a very difficult one because I love both, and I loved the reason why Circles and Squares was so easy for me to pick there is that I have very good memories of it because it was the first song that I written myself, like in terms of all the lyrics and everything. Like that was my full-on first thing that I made.
What a result, eh?
Yeah. So, and this one is Edge of Glory and Stop the Bleeding. Like Edge of Glory was also one of the tracks that I was really proud of, like writing that chorus. And Stop the Bleeding, I think I would go for Stop the Bleeding because the song for me that really like shows me that I'm now, in my opinion, a little bit better songwriter than I was back then.
Okay, so we have 4 left. We have Fire, Masquerade, Circles and Squares, and Stop the Bleeding.
Okay, yeah.
First matchup, Fire against Masquerade.
Then I would go Masquerade.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in the final, Masquerade. And the other semi-final, Circles and Squares against Stop the Bleeding.
then I would say Circles and Squares for the memories.
Okay, so we have 2 left, Masquerade and Circles and Squares. If you want to reflect a bit on each track before saying the winner.
Yeah, well, the thing is for me, both have such a huge impact on me in terms of like my own process. I don't think people will really notice it, of course, when they listen to that shit, but I feel like Masquerade for me was like a next step in terms of songwriting, full-on drum kit recording, a different kind of instruments in there that we like really went into recording studio with. For me, that was also the next step, you know, for me. So both tracks have that, you know, that value for me that I was like, oh, I'm really progressing in terms of what I can do. So that's a very difficult choice. So, I mean, Circles and Squares for me has really good memories because I was like thinking about writing a song about the struggle of always finding something new to work on. And the song is the meaning about like the Circles and Squares stands for creativity. So it's always it was always about people just trying to move on, still wanting to create stuff, even though they don't know what to do, but they just keep moving on, you know, in life. Yeah. And Masquerade is a little bit more just a focused song about, you know, just on a relationship, which is a bit more shallow in terms of like the songwriting aspect. But in terms of like the whole music thing, I would say Masquerade above Circles and Squares. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
In terms of like how I feel about the song, and like I can see like Masquerade was really the point where I was like, okay, I'm really now at a point where I can, you know, really start making proper music, you know what I'm saying? Okay. Before the Circles and Squares was the point where I realized I can now really make proper hardstyle.
Okay. So we have a winner. Now every time I get to see you and you play Masquerade, I'm going to think like, okay, this is the one here.
Well, but it's a really fucking hard one to choose, man. Like for real, like Circles and Squares, so much memories. It's still like very relevant. It's almost 10 years old now, and people still fucking love it. It's you can't pick the best one, you know.
Okay.
Pick your favorite child, you know. You can't do that.
Yeah, and now let's people put in the comments what they think and what is their favorite. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Yeah. And see you tonight at FABRIK.
Awesome. I hope you have a good time there as well, man. But of course. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. I always love being here in Spain, man. It's always a great time, and I can't wait to be back after this.
Okay. So thank you everybody for watching this interview, and see you in the next Sábado Histórico episode or interview. Bye.
Ciao.